It's time for Bring Your Own Lunch, a podcast for your whole face, with your host, Dave T. Koenig.
All right, come on in, have a seat, welcome. This is the Bring Your Own Lunch podcast at BringYourOwnLunch.com, the magic of iTunes, the majesty of Stitcher, and however you found your way to download this podcast where we hear personal stories about the business. I thank you. As you heard at the top, my name is Dave T. Koenig. I'm an actor, writer, director, producer, comedian, all-around swell dude, and this year I dressed as Mr. Incredible from The Incredibles for Halloween. And of course, I'm the host of the podcast you're listening to right now. BYOL is the hashtag we use on Twitter and Facebook if you want to play along at home, and why wouldn't you? Because you seem like a decent person, and you seem like somebody who would support us in that way. And if you do want to support us, you can always go to BringYourOwnLunch.com, follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast, find us on Facebook, and of course, since we are there on iTunes, it would mean so much if you would rate, review, subscribe on iTunes, and tell a friend and let them know what's going on here. What's going on here this week? Great guest. Michael Barra. He's an actor who has been seen in a bunch of different stuff. He was in the Amazing Spider-Man, the more recent Andrew Garfield version. We talk about that in the conversation I have with him. He was on Law & Order and Law & Order SVU and a plethora of things. And we'll talk about his career and how he got started in Connecticut and how he got a very early education in theater in a very unique way. And I think it's fun to hear how he went through his process to get into the business. And as I continue to find through doing this podcast, there's no real subscribed way or prescribed way for anybody to get in the business, and Michael's is unique as any. One thing that stands out about Michael, and I tell him this, he's just a super, super positive guy, and it's really cool when you get to talk to somebody who just seems to be happy and content with life. I mean, obviously he has his goals and he's working toward them, but he doesn't seem to let the little things bother him. And on top of that, he's been extremely supportive to the podcast, and so I appreciate that a heck of a lot. He and I met through our mutual manager, Sid Levin and Associates, that I've mentioned before, and we get into a little bit of a conversation about what it means to have a manager and what it means to have an agent and how you can look at each one of them uniquely and what that means to your career, having the right kind of representation. And I believe he and I feel the same way about our representation, that we're really happy about it. So it's a positive talk. Not surprising, given the fact that I'm talking to Michael Barra. So looking forward to bring you that conversation. This is Halloween week. I did get dressed up as Mr. Incredible. It was kind of an inspiration. We had a kids party for Halloween over the weekend, and last year after Halloween we did one of those let's go out and find a bunch of stuff that's cheap, because you go to certain places and they'll slash prices on Halloween stuff right after Halloween by up to 90%. So you go there and it's like you can clean up. And last year I found one of those morph suits. It was all red. I had no idea what I was going to do with it, but I was like, I have to own that because it was dirt cheap. So we had that sitting in our basement for a while, and when I had to think of a costume for this kid's Halloween party, I was like, hey, I got that morph suit, and Mr. Incredible, it's the right color for Mr. Incredible, so I cobbled together a costume based on that, and as much as I wasn't going to do it, I'm going to post a picture of it to the podcast website, BringYourOwnLunch.com. So if you want to see me look silly, I will certainly provide that to you in ample opportunity at that. Also, I've got a couple things I wanted to talk about that are exciting, that are really cool. A few weeks ago, I kind of alluded to the fact that I was waiting to find out if I was going to get a role on a network show. I was up for a role. It was a day player kind of thing, so one day a work or so. And I had what they call a pin in me. Now, in television, that's how they indicate that they would like to keep you under very, very close consideration. And in a lot of ways, it's a way for them to say, hey, we want to use you in that role, but we're not sure we're going to go ahead with that. So it's a kind of good news, kind of we have to wait and see kind of news. And as it turned out with that particular show, they cut the character. So my character was eliminated, so I never actually got booked on that show. It happens. That's showbiz. So I had, I had that kind of weighing on me a little bit, but in the last couple of weeks, I've been doing some more auditioning, and glad to say that this week I'm going to be doing a day on one show, and next week I've got a role on another show, so things look pretty cool. The one this week, I can't tell you what it is, or where I'm working, or who for, or what I'll be doing. It's under a lot of... It's under tight wraps, they say. I mean, I wouldn't have told you anyway necessarily. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing in the following week. I'd rather tell you in retrospect, just in case things happen. You know, they might say the night before, hey, we decided not to have that character in the show, and I might get cut before I even get to work. So I'm not going to, put my chickens before the cart. I don't know what that means. I'm not gonna put the cart before the horse, or count my chickens before they hatch, or put my chicken before the cart. I'm not gonna do any of that stuff. But it does kind of speak to something that I did want to mention, and that's more of that idea of confidentiality. When you get booked on something, when you get hired for a role in whatever, it's exciting, and it should be a positive thing, and you should feel good if you're an actor. But you have to also be careful that you're not going to screw it up for yourself. So if I found out I had a pin in me, and I started running around telling everybody, hey, I got a pin in me for this show, and then it turns out I didn't end up getting it, like what happened with the first one a couple weeks ago, well, I'm going to look stupid. And what you can also do is watch things backfire greatly, because if you tell too many people too much all at once before things actually happen, you might get fired. It didn't actually happen, but there was a story a few weeks ago where someone I know was very excited to say they got booked on this show, put it up on Facebook, and it turns out that they didn't want him to mention anything about being on that show, so they really quickly told him, take that down now or there's going to be problems. So being smart, he took it down. But just know that the social media thing is great, and it's great to share some good news on social media, but you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. There's an even more dramatic story. Somebody I had, a friend of a friend, had gotten a job on a video game, and video games are really kept confidential because it's such a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very competitive business. So they don't allow a lot of trade secrets out until they actually release that video game. So what happened was this kid got a role in a video game and tweeted about it before he got on the train to go to the actual job. By the time he got out of the subway, they had called his phone like 10 times telling him, you have to take that down or you're fired. That's the kind of stuff that can happen. So just be careful with the social media stuff and whether or not you share too much good news before it's already in the can. I will tell you what happens and what I did and where you can see it plenty soon enough, but I just want to get there first, then tell you in retrospect. One thing I can tell you in retrospect, that the episode of Alpha House on Netflix Instant that I was in is up, and I'm very happy to say I did not get cut out of the episode. So if you're into Alpha House on Amazon Instant, the name of the episode is Shelter in Place. That's the 4th episode of season 2, or episode 15 all around. The episode's Shelter in Place. I play constituent man number 2, but I got some decent screen time there, working with among others, John Goodman, which was very cool. And somehow, sometimes you just get lucky, and I randomly found a Variety article talking about season 2 of Alpha House, and there it was. The picture they used had John Goodman in front of a bunch of people, and right there, you could see my face very clearly. So I managed to get a little extra publicity out of that. So it just goes to show, right place, right time, anything can happen. And now a bunch of people have seen me in Variety this week. And I'm very, very grateful for that. As always, got some people to thank. Banuba.net. They're the folks that provide the music at the beginning, middle, and end of this show. You can go to banuba.net to find out their schedule of live appearances. You can download some music, and please do. They're great. Please support them. They do a lot for this show just in the music they provide alone. And I'm always very grateful to them. The New York Short Film Shootout 4 Super Scary Edition. If you are listening to this on Tuesday or early Wednesday, there's still time for you to join us for New York Short Film Shootout 4 Super Scary Edition. That's Wednesday night, October 29th at 8 p.m. at Treehouse Theater in New York City, 154 West 29th Street. We will be showing a great lineup of scary films just in time for Halloween. Vinny Petrosini and I putting the finishing touches on everything, and we are ready to go for a great night. And if you're listening to this after the 29th, well, you can certainly still be part of the fun. Just go to nysfso.com, and if you're a filmmaker, you want to present one of your films, just submit it to us. Submissions at nysfso.com. Also with the Treehouse Theater this year, I'm taking part in Bad Theater Fest. It's something I got to do last year, and the Theater Fest has returned. Sean Wickens and Star Kendall, they founded this Theater Fest, and last year they had a show that backed out last minute, so they wanted to put together a show to replace it. And rather than changing the name of the show, they just called this replacement show Let's Talk About Sex, because that was the show that backed out. And contractually, we are now obligated to do that same show again. Let's Talk About Sex. It's the talk show where we don't talk about sex. So I'll be hosting that on Saturday night, November 1st at 11 p.m. at Treehouse Theater, that same Treehouse Theater, 154 West 29th Street. At 11 p.m. Come join us. The last time it was a lot of fun. It was kooky, silly fun, and it'll be kooky, silly fun this year, too. And I'm awful glad that Sean and Star asked me to come back to host that this year. And you can check out their website at badtheaterfest.com. All right, I think that's it. Let's go into our conversation now with Michael Barra. Hear all about his experiences on Spider-Man and growing up in Connecticut, and why I will forever call him T-Bone. Enjoy. So you did take a step outside, though.
Yeah, I did.
Did you notice how warm it is?
Yeah, I...
What is this?
The past couple days, it was like freezing. It was like winters.
Yes.
And now it's spring.
Now, I don't understand. I don't know what's going on. I know that we have been faced with a lot of potential climate change. And at this point, I think it's hard to argue that there's something going on.
Yeah, but a day like this, it's also hard to argue that, like, I'll take a day like this.
That's true. I mean, I don't mind so much for me, but I guess somewhere if, like, you're south of there, right around the equator, it might get a little uncomfortable in some time, you know?
Yeah, I guess it's what Jon Stewart said. He was like, there must not be... there's no global warming because it's warm in the part of the country or it's cold in the part of the country I'm in.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, in Canada, they're like, global warming? What?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Inuits are like, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
Although actually the Inuits are probably watching as their glaciers keep sinking into the sea that wasn't there before. So we're starting on a very fun note.
Yeah, for sure.
Michael Barra.
Hey there.
You said you had a bit of a late night. Are you a late night guy, though?
I mean, yeah, kind of. My schedule is, stay up pretty late, wake up kind of late.
The actor's life, man.
Yeah.
That's the actor's privilege.
Oh, yeah.
Because we don't have a regular schedule.
Yeah. I was just at the bar last night, and they started playing... like traditional Celtic music, which I'm strangely a big fan of. And I stayed all night, sang some pub songs, drank some beer.
Just hanging out, being are you at all Irish?
Mm-mm.
No,
I'm Eastern European, a mutt of like...
We've talked about that.
Yeah.
How you are a fairly... You're very versatile in how your look is. And I
a little
wanted to talk about
ambiguous.
That. Yeah, that was a phrase that they would use not too long ago a lot. Ethnically, we want someone who's ethnically ambiguous. And I don't know if anybody in the industry actually knew what that meant.
It was pretty ambiguous.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we want someone who is ethereal.
Yeah.
And you can't actually touch them.
I think that mainly meant like swarthy, like,
it was an appropriate way to make, to say we want somebody who's European and kind of gross.
Right.
Yeah, it was a very polite way of saying that.
Yeah, and I got that quite a bit.
What's the range of what you've been either sent in on or people have said, hey, you strike me as somebody who is this or that?
I've been up for a lot of roles that are Latino of some, I've been in for a couple Mexican roles. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe it was 3 Mexican roles.
Yeah.
And then, on SVU, I played a gypsy. So like Romani.
Right.
I've played Greek, Italian, which is Italian and Russian are the 2 things I identify most with.
Right, sure.
But yeah, no, I think the Mexican to Romani shows
that's a pretty good stretch.
Quite a good range.
Yeah, I would say that, especially climate-wise, although these days it's all kind of like, getting into the same temperature range. But yeah, like you go from Mexico to, let's say, Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
That's a very big stretch.
For sure.
For you as a character actor, I know for me as a character actor, having that sort of versatility is great. Do you think there's any drawbacks to having that sort of vagueness to you?
No, I think it opens up the range of what you can play and what you're going to get called in for,
True. I guess the only thing that I won't speak for you, but for me, it's like I won't be called in to play Tom Cruise.
Right.
It's usually not that in my domain,
Yeah. I think I've never thought I would be called in to play like a Tom Cruisian type role.
You never saw yourself as Cruisian?
No, I was, much like you've said a couple times on the podcast, don't you sometimes say you were born looking the way you do?
I looked like this when I was 18.
Yeah, same here. So like I was, at 13, I knew I was a character man,
So I envy that. I envy that because I felt that pressure to, or I felt discouraged from thinking about an acting career because I wasn't Cruisian.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I think everybody was kind of pushing me in the direction of, yes, be a funny character-y guy, I still had that thought in my head, well, but the people who are successful, well, they're all really good-looking people.
And that's probably a really, grounded thought to have. I never once thought, oh, I don't look like most of those people who are, in the big roles in movies and TV.
Yeah,
I'm going to be that person.
Good for you, man. And, I think that speaks a lot about and it explains a lot about your personality because, whenever I see you, you have a big smile on your face. It's like, you say the phrase, like it uses so many more muscles to frown than smile. And if you smile, your muscles kind of get stuck in that way and it's, it has an emotional and mental and psychological effect on everybody around you. And I think you're one of those people who is like, you just seem like you have a smile on your face all the time.
Well, thanks, man. I feel like a pretty happy person most of the time.
So let's go back to when you were let's say 13. Well, let's go back before 13. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Connecticut. I guess I was I grew up in Durham. I was in Wallingford, Connecticut till I was 5, but I don't remember most of that.
No, so the years up to 5 are pretty.
Yeah,
you kind of your living room and your room and the kitchen.
Yeah, the only story I have from before 5, which is of course told to me, I don't remember, is I was born with my foot in my mouth. Apparently,
for real?
Yeah. My mom, that's I don't have a memory of being born, but my mom, the way she tells it is that in the delivery room, the doctor was like, "Oh, here's the head, and here's the
what?"
And she's screaming. She's like, "What's going on?" He's like, Apparently, it was head, then leg, and they thought I was deformed until they fully got me out and realized I was just sucking my toes.
That's hilarious. I mean, in retrospect, it's hilarious. I'm sure at the time, having gone through that process a couple of times, the last thing you want to do is have a doctor go, the silence is deadly at that moment.
Yeah.
You want them to just be saying it's fine. Oh, looking good. Yes. Yeah. Excellent.
Beautiful baby.
But just was probably the worst thing your mom could hear.
Yeah.
So you just were just hanging out, waiting to come out. Yeah. So you're like, hey, this looks like a pretty good thing. I'm gonna check out my toe today.
I'll take a toe till these people buy me a passy.
Did they say anything about that? Was that a big deal at all at the hospital? Because developmentally, that's actually pretty big, I think.
I think they just kind of brushed it off.
Yeah, they're like, we will never speak of this again.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't find out about it till I think I was like 15, 16. And my mom was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, because developmentally, babies don't discover their feet until I think like a couple months into their life. So the fact that you found your toe... Now,
and wanted to put it directly in my mouth.
I think maybe you had, before you came out, you must have said something insulting about your mom's womb, symbolically.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing
instinctively,
I knew.
You're like, I literally put my foot in my mouth. I mean, I was just saying, it seems kind of big in here. I didn't mean anything by actually, this is not fair for you, because I realize I'm just saying this about a real person who is very close to you.
And is probably going to listen to this podcast.
I am very sorry, Mrs. Barra. It is Mrs. Barra. I'm very sorry, Mrs. Barra. I went on a very bad riff, and I apologize for having any indication mentioned.
It's honestly, she said since I was at a young age that her favorite word is the F word. She doesn't have delicate sensibilities.
All right, so screw you, Mrs. Barra. We're done.
Whoa.
Hang on. Oh, all right. Hold on. I went a little too far. So after 5, you moved to Durham.
Moved to Durham.
And what was Durham like?
Durham is a very small town. There were more cows than people.
Yeah,
when we moved there.
Growing up on Long Island, I don't know if I ever heard of Durham, Connecticut. I heard of Durham, North Carolina, which I'm sure you get a lot of.
Right. Yeah. No. Durham is it's the geographical half point between Giants Stadium and Gillette, Foxborough.
Yeah.
So, like, when the Pats and Giants play in the Super Bowl, they do something on our green. And then we also have the third largest agricultural fair in the Northeast.
Sounds delightful.
Largest volunteer fair. Those are the only 2 reasons anyone has ever heard of Durham.
Did you have any experience with farming?
I did not. I knew a lot of, there's a really big, 1 or 2 dairy farms in the town. There's a lot of Christmas tree farms.
Okay.
Lots of corn and veggies. We truly have a couple of the like veggie stands with the honor box, and
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Yeah, like still to this day, there's a big dairy farm that you can go and buy milk and eggs there, and it's all on the honor system.
And you just put your money down, and they don't pay attention.
And everybody does. Yeah,
that's awesome. I mean, that brings you back to a time in life where I don't even know if. Like, I truly experienced, and like they say the gentler days of yore, which weren't really gentle or yore, but they would tell us how people were more honest, and then nobody was out to steal and all that stuff, which I think we know is all bull, but it does exist out there. There's a place my parents used to get clams. It just reminds me where it was done the same way, where you could just go pick up a whole bunch of clams by the shore and leave your money, and people, by and large, no, there was never a problem.
Yeah.
And I think nobody just wants to wreck it for anybody else. I think that's probably a big part of it. You can go ahead, crack open that water.
Cool.
Why not?
Thanks, buddy.
This is bring your own lunch, and I think that fits within the parameters of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
I think that may be the first time that I actually said the name of the show during an interview on this show. So that's it. We broke new ground today.
For sure. I feel honored to be a part of it.
That's right. So when you were a kid, was there any thought to becoming an actor or going into performing?
It was 5th grade is when I was like, that's what I want to do.
What was it that did it?
So, the very first play I did was Charlotte's Web in 1st grade. I played Wilbur.
Nice.
Yeah.
You must have beaten out a couple people for that, because that's a hot role.
Yeah, and it was the 1st through 4th grade, and I was the 1st grader. And
so you beat out 4th graders for it?
Yeah, I did.
Wow, that's like the equity version of getting a school play part. Yeah,
for sure. And I broke my ankle like a week before the show. And was devastated until I realized pigs crawl. I was like, wait a second, I'm going to do this on my hands and knees.
As a 1st grader, you're like, I'm doing this.
Wrap this in pink. We wrapped my cast in pink felt, and I was like, let's go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it wasn't until 5th grade that I was really like, this is good. I did a children's theater show, Long Swamp Players. Dan Poliner was the head of that, and he lives in New York now and makes movies.
Okay.
And he headed that up, and then he was doing a community theater show. There was one kid role in it, asked me to do that. I did that, and the writer of that show came. They were going to do a national tour of it. She put me in contact with the producers. I was like 10, and put my parents in contact.
Of course, yeah. You wouldn't have an adult talking to a 10-year-old making deals.
Yeah. She was interested in having me play the kid part on the tour, and then that tour never happened. They did it was an Italian family show, and they did a different Italian drama.
Okay.
Without a kid, because they couldn't tour with a kid.
Okay, there's some rules still.
Equity rules. So
what happened after that? That didn't discourage you then?
No, that made me go, because there were a couple other people in the cast that were pursuing this as an actual career. We were right near Wesleyan College in Middletown, Connecticut.
Okay.
It's where Joss Whedon and Michael Bay came out of.
Yeah.
And a couple of the students there were playing my siblings. One of which was Dominica Cameron Scorsese, Martin Scorsese's daughter.
Well, that's. All right. Slow down. Okay, we're getting. Okay, this is good. I just want to get this straight here. Okay, so you.
It sounds way more Hollywood than it is.
This should be happening in Beverly Hills. This is what happened when people grew up going to Hollywood high schools. It's like you just kind of rub shoulders with the right people. But okay, so this part that you were doing, how did you get involved in?
It was the children's theater. The director from that directed this show, and
at Wesleyan.
It was a community theater show. He was a Wesleyan student.
Okay,
but it was for the Cromwell Historical Society. They were trying to raise money to save some historical building on Main Street. I forget what it was.
That's a lofty goal for a community theater play.
Yeah, wow. I think they raised a couple grand for him. So
how much did Scorsese fork over for that?
I have no clue.
Well, you were 10 or whatever. Yeah. So you weren't really keeping the books, I'm guessing. Yeah. So. Did you have any experience directly with Martin Scorsese from that? Or?
No, we were supposed to. He was supposed to fly in to see, because it was his daughter who was in college.
I think, yeah.
And apparently she said he got snowed out of Connecticut. He was supposed to come for the last weekend.
All right, so it was a big snowstorm. Legit reason, okay. It wasn't just like, I'm too busy.
I was little. I didn't know, but my dad, we were having the cast party at my house. My dad cooked this handmade brajol and meatballs and everything,
Wow.
And then
no Marty.
We still enjoyed the feast, though.
I'm sure, yeah. Well, what was her name again? Dominica.
And she's doing more, I believe the last time I talked to her was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I believe she's focused more on directing now.
Oh, that's
following
not bad,
the
family business. But so you were able to keep in touch with her?
Yeah, actually through Dan Poliner, who's the guy who kind of got me started in acting in fifth grade.
Interesting.
I've stayed in touch with him the whole time. He's done I think one feature and a bunch of shorts, and we do readings of his scripts all the time.
That's great. To have established a network that early, is not only rare, but it shows a lot of forethought on your part to maintain a connection with people like that.
Well, I got in fifth grade. For me, it turned into not just I like to pretend to be other people and whatnot. I got into the business side of it in fifth grade. I saw the guy who was playing my brother, Dan Adler, reading backstage in our dressing room.
Right.
And I inquired about what it was. And then from that day forward, there was one newspaper store in the surrounding area that sold backstage.
Oh, my gosh.
We had to go every Thursday. I had to pick up my backstage. I had to read that. I knew equity rules by the time I was in seventh grade,
Most of us in the business still don't know equity rules.
I don't think I remember as many of them now.
Well, they've changed since you were 10, yeah. So you kept a mind on the business, but did you do more acting after that?
Yeah, I started doing about 3 plays a year between school and community stuff. And when you're talking about community theater, 3 plays a year is like each play is about 3 months commitment normally because you rehearse for
decades.
2 months and 3 weeks, and then you have 4 shows.
It is a very interesting. Yeah, my wife's done quite a bit of community theater. I've never really done it, at least since I was in high school, where our high school had basically our community theater. So there's a tremendous amount of work being put into these for a very short run.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, you almost wish for them that they would be able to just kind of almost like meet somewhere in the middle, like the 3-month rehearsal and a week of shows. It's just like, it's not enough,
And then when you get into it on the professional side and you're like, oh, we're doing more shows than we had rehearsal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's like, that's why I'm in it, to do the shows. Although when I was younger, I have to admit, I was into doing shows for the rehearsals because that's where the girls were. Yeah. So I mean, that it is a lure there. Yeah. You could either play football where you'd be hanging around with guys who are getting changed in the locker room, or you could be hanging around at rehearsal where there were girls who were wearing various stages of dress. Yeah. As a teenager, I mean, I think it was a pretty no brainer. But did you play any sports?
I played. I did track and field when I was a freshman and sophomore in high school. I was obviously much more field than track. I was a thrower. Shot put was my game.
You brought the brute strength to the.
Yeah. I still to this day like throwing shot put. If there's a heavy object around, I'll toss it like a shot put.
I get the feeling that like you're not alone in that. I think once you get into shot put, you keep doing it because one of my cousins was a big shot putter. He was a big guy and built real strong, and he still does it even though he's now like a professional chef and does lots of other stuff. He's like, I just got to get back out there and shot put, man. Yeah. And to me that's amazing. You're only the second person I've ever heard say that.
Because not to get into that, but there's a lot on my part to get into. I did shot put in high school and still enjoy throwing objects in that manner. But it's like it's the only thing you throw like that. There's no elbow. You're just using your brute force to push an item into the air as far as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I've only goofed around with it once, and it's like throwing a small child into a pool. Yeah. It's the only thing that I can even equate it to. It's like the amount of just force you have to put behind it. The push is the big thing. Yeah. And if you tried to throw it like a baseball, you'd probably kill your elbow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So when did you transit? Did you go to school? Did you college?
I went to a performing arts high. That's why I only did track and field for freshman sophomore years. Because junior senior year I went to the Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts.
There you go.
In Hartford, Connecticut.
What was that like? I mean, for anybody who doesn't know it, tell us about that a little bit.
It was great. It was a half-day school, so you would go to your regular home high school for the first half of the day and take your academics in the morning. You'd squeeze them all in by noon. And then at the lunch period, they would send a bus that would come pick you up at your home high school and bring you to Hartford. And you would take class there from 1 to 4:15. And that was just all,
performing arts,
voice, acting, movement, all that.
Wow, yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And they would I was only there 2 years, and I think I did a total of 5 shows or something just at that school. Mm-hmm. It was an awesome experience. I'm still in touch with a lot of the students I met there.
Are any of them actively in the business, or?
There's definitely a handful of us that are still plugging away. A lot of just working stiffs like us. Nobody. I'm trying to think. I don't think anyone has broken through onto that next level yet, but there's definitely a bunch of us still out there plugging away.
Yeah. So when did you finish that?
I graduated in 2004.
Did you graduate? Did you concurrently graduate from high school and that program?
Yeah. That's you have cool. to be in high school to be in that program.
Right, but you essentially graduated 2 different things, right?
Right.
That's pretty cool. That's fairly unique, I guess.
I guess.
And then where'd you go from there?
From there, I went to SUNY Purchase.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was in the acting conservatory there. I did that for 2 years, and then I ended up leaving because I got a tour of Man of La Mancha, the national tour of that. I played Sancho on, so I
reason enough. Yeah. I mean, isn't that sort of like the goal? It's funny when you hear something like that where somebody leaves school and doesn't graduate to go in to get a job. There's sort of this little weird thing about it where people kind of go, oh, well, you should have finished your degree.
Yeah.
But you take somebody who, let's say like a football player who plays their first 2 years and then gets drafted and goes right into the NFL. They're like, well, of course, he should have done that. It's good business sense. It doesn't match up. It should be the same thing, because we're all pursuing a job. I mean, the degree is great. And if you get to a certain point in life where you're going the traditional business route, you're going to need those credentials. But for us, it's like, what's more worthwhile on a resume? The fact that you actually got a degree in your art, or that you were already working and have been steadily working since?
Yeah. I think my parents were some of the only parents that were, happy when I told them I was going to drop out of college, because they were like, well, I guess you don't need to be paying to learn to do that if you're going to get paid to do it.
Yeah. Plus you're going to, I'm sure, I mean, you tell me that the tour itself must have been a massive education.
For sure. Yeah. It was, it was great to work with actors who had been doing it for, ever. Our director is a big Broadway guy, Sam Viverito. So it was great to work with him. But aside from all that, just the life experience. I turned 21 on the road, and we were, we did about 200 cities in 45 states in 10 months.
Wow.
So, just that,
you grew up real fast.
It was awesome. Yeah. We went through a couple, they were just experiences that I would never thought I would have had.
Yeah. Well, can you pick one or two out that are?
One that was kind of really cool was we got snowed in Jackson, Minnesota. Really small town. Yeah. So small that we pulled into a hotel that closely resembled Bates. And, we were all a little on edge. We pull in and they have all the rooms available because no one stayed there since the 70s. And we go in, and the outpouring from that town, it was like, oh, wow, I've kind of forgotten that. Much like the Mayberry small town we were talking about to start the episode off that I grew up in.
Yeah.
I'd been, at college and in the city for a little while, that I'd almost forgotten about that.
Yeah.
And when we got there, the gas station down the road calls up. They said, "Oh, we saw a big bus pull into the hotel up there. Do you guys need anything? We know it's really bad out. We've got four-wheelers. We'll shuttle it up."
Holy cow.
The bar was like, "Well, we're still open tonight. If you want, we'll come and bring you guys down."
Wow.
Yeah, it was like everyone in the small town saw the bus and was like, "Let's help."
There is a bus in town. This is big news. Yeah. I do sometimes take that for granted, the fact that I grew up on Long Island, and I had very easy access to the city, and I had exposure to a lot of amazing things growing up. And I tend to forget how much of what I grew up as normal to somebody who's living in Jackson, Minnesota, is a dream. Just to have access to the city once is a dream.
Right.
So for them, you were like Hollywood.
Yeah.
You were a connection to Hollywood. So
that's what, we did go to the bar that night, and it was cool, you exchanging stories with them, because it was just such different. We're coming from the big city, and it was fun.
I definitely take that for granted, and I never did a tour, and that's one thing I guess I missed out on, is just seeing what it's like going in as a performer to these places, because for me, it's like, okay, I'm used to Broadway, and it's very easy to go to Broadway or even off Broadway, where the productions are really, really high level.
Yeah.
But to go to, a small town, and it's like their exposure to Broadway is through you. That's a big deal. And I kind of overlook that. It's interesting to hear that.
Yeah. It was a very cool experience.
Yeah. Anything else from that particular thing that really drove home or was a big lesson for you?
That was a little while ago. It's hard to pinpoint anything. I love Austin, Texas. That's where I turned 21, and that was
special times.
I don't know if you've ever been there, but
but I know enough of it.
They have a street called 6th Street.
Okay,
and it's just bars for like 3 blocks, 30-something bars.
Wow.
Yeah, I passed out somewhere along that. I don't remember where, but it happened.
When you're on a tour like that, is there a sense of camaraderie and taking care of each other? Or
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's inherently built in. We had bus buddies.
Oh, okay.
It was somebody else who didn't live in your room, who you didn't room with, that would make sure you were on the bus in the morning.
Okay.
But also, yeah, I mean, just I made some lifelong friends there. Actually, we just had, I think, probably our one and only Man of La Mancha tour, Phoenix 2006 to 2007 tour, Marriage. Our drummer and the lady who played the housekeeper.
Okay.
Just
they hit
married.
It off and got hitched. Good from for them.
Yeah.
How many people were involved in that tour? Because Man of La Mancha is a pretty big show.
It was a 17-person cast. Okay. And then we toured with, I believe, a crew of 10. And that was... no, I think it was a... Yeah, I think it was like 10. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
And then in every town, they would pick up a local crew of like 30 to 40 people.
Okay.
For backstage whatnot.
Interesting. And is that where do the musicians fit in?
I think they rode on the bus with us, so there were 5 musicians.
Oh, okay, so it was a very small number for such a big musical.
We all had like a lot of like really big musicals when you're touring. This was non-equity. This was back before I joined the union, and a lot of times then you're having to share seats on this bus for 12-hour or 14-hour trips. We all got our own seats. So much so that there were a couple extra. And me and like 2 or 3 of the other youngest people on the tour were like, can we take out 4 seats in the back? We're just going to put some mattresses down and pass out on the bus back here.
That's pretty smart.
We did. It was great.
How long was the longest trip, do you think?
I want to say, I remember some that were like 16, 17 hours driving.
Wow.
Like from Galveston, Texas.
Mm-hmm. Which is pretty far down there, right?
It's on the shore, on the Gulf.
Yeah.
Our next stop from there was Phoenix, Arizona.
That's a long trip.
We didn't make that in one. We stopped off in, I forget the name of the town. It was a town in Texas that only had a truck stop, a prison, and a golf course and a hotel.
Yet they had the golf course.
Yeah, and we went, and we called up. I was like, do you guys have rental clubs? And they were like, yeah. So 6 of us went down because there was nothing else to do.
Right.
They had 2 bags of rental clubs, one for righties, one for lefties.
Oh my God. You all shared.
We all shared, and the people who scored the top 3 on the previous hole had to use the lefties on the next because we were all righties. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So from this tour, which obviously got you started, and you were making a little bit of money on that.
A little bit, yeah. As a 20-year-old, it was
which was probably like a huge amount of money, but I'm sure it'd be laughable today
for sure.
But so that got your feet wet. Did that kind of like springboard you into stuff, or did it take a little while to?
I got my first independent feature when we were on the road because we were actually playing my home state, and I saw these auditions. I kept looking at auditions the whole time I was on the road to see if I could self-submit or anything.
Yeah.
And I found this. It just happened to be happening the weekend we were playing Connecticut, and so I went and I found out before I even got off tour that I got it. And we ended up filming that, like, I think 2 weeks after I got off tour.
So that's good timing.
Yeah.
Wow, good for you. What was that?
Then, that was called Fog Warning.
Okay.
It's I play a conspiracy theorist who truly believes he has captured a real living vampire, and he's keeping her in a cage in his attic.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that's pretty heavy.
The question is she or isn't she?
Wow.
So I did that, and I was in a studio auditioning for that, and they were casting another horror called Banshee that still plays on the Chiller Channel, Sci-Fi.
Wow.
And I got that at the same time. I didn't even really audition for that when they were just like, we saw you.
Wow.
There was, it was a small role. I had long hair at the time.
Okay,
and, so it was a look, and they were casting like a younger stoner.
Wow.
So, and
that's a pretty good start. And those were non-union?
Those were both non-union. I started getting my, I did union shows, at the Iverton Playhouse, when I was in high school and, a summer after college and stuff. But I didn't join any of the unions back then. I was earning my weeks, but and
you didn't have to join. You had the option not to join equity, and it wouldn't have affected your ability or need to join SAG or AFTRA or anything like that. So, when did you start turning those opportunities or those jobs that you had into, let's say, union work or more higher paying stuff?
The next job I got after those two movies was an off-Broadway show called The Awesome 80s Prom, where I actually met one of your first guests,
Kathy Searle.
Yeah. So that was my first job in the city. That's what kind of made me move here.
Okay.
I got that job while I was still living back in Connecticut, and I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to commute. It was only a once-a-week show.
Right.
I still didn't want to commute every weekend, and so I moved here to do that, and that is how I got my equity card.
Okay, yeah. It's amazing how many people got their start in that show.
Yeah. You look at, I don't know, some of the people who stick out in my mind are like Noah Weisberg and Jeff Hiller and Kathy.
Jeff Hiller has done a ton of stuff. And
tons.
Noah Weisberg, also he was...
Modern Family.
Yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff. He actually... It's funny how this podcast all weaves together, and this is probably more interesting to me than anybody, but Noah Weisberg was one of the people who was in the commercial that I did the first time I worked with Olga.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Olga Meredi's, the very strange, mysterious Microsoft commercial that we did. And it's interesting how people from that, I don't even say generation, but like people who were just sort of getting their feet wet at that time, you're seeing them now take on bigger and bigger stuff. And it's very interesting that so many of them got started in one of a few different places. And it's very cool to watch it all happen. So how long were you with the Awesome 80s Prom?
I was with that for 4 years.
Okay.
But I was a couple classes, I guess you would say, behind like Jeff and Kathy. Actually, Kathy's last show was the show that I shadowed. You don't get you get one rehearsal where you learn the dance, and then you come and watch the show the week before you go on, and then you go on.
And then you're in.
Yeah.
And because it's not really scripted.
No, I think it's like a 16-page or so script, and a lot of that is the songs that, the playlist of the songs.
Right.
It was a blast. It was great. Produced, directed, written by Ken Davenport. So that's what got my union feet wet.
And then I know you've done still some more stage work, and then you've also moved into doing some TV. So I know, was Law and Order the first thing?
Law and Order was in 2009 was the first. I booked the mothership, as they call it, the original Law and Order.
Yeah, the one I regret I never got to do.
Yeah. I played a skate shop clerk that it was Jeremy Sisto and Anthony Anderson.
Oh, so it was in the waning days.
It was the second to last episode of the second to last season.
Okay, there you go.
And they just, I have a couple lines, but that was my TV debut. That was my first SAG job. And then before the end of that year, I booked an SVU episode.
Oh, so you that's interesting in the same year to do both those shows.
Yeah, it was 2009. I did both episodes. I want to say that I'm not sure if the SVU came out until we filmed at the end of 2009.
Okay, it
might have come out the beginning of 2010.
And what was it for you booking that first TV job? First of all, you were working with somebody who got you in.
I'm actually still with the person who I'm with the only theatrical representation I've ever had, which is Sid Levin and Associates.
Which is very familiar to both of us. I've already mentioned probably in the intro to this that we share the same manager, and that's how we met.
And at that time, though, Sid was part of independent artist agency.
So she was an agent, not quite. She wasn't a manager yet.
Right. I mean, she had already been a manager, and then she was an agent. And now she's back to being a manager.
So she was in that donut period where she was the
honestly, she has always acted like a manager. You know, the heart's always there. So
and for you, so for somebody who's sort of trying to learn as much as possible about the business, how would you draw the distinction between an agent and a manager?
I think the line has become so blurred, but I think the clearest distinction is an agent's only real job is to get you those auditions and get you the deals when you book, you know. That's really, they're not investing in you as I mean, they are, but they're not, I guess, hand-holding as much, or they're not as
hands-on.
Yeah. A manager is really ideally looking out for you and your whole career and saying, this is the trajectory we see, and trying to help you shape what your actual career is going to be.
Which I've experienced working with several different people, and now working with Sid is like Sid is definitely really taking a lot of time, and Harold, her partner in it, definitely taking a lot of time. Not just saying, okay, here's your auditions for today or this week, but saying like, this is the right move for you. This is not the right move for you.
We're lucky with Sid because
and she's gonna love hearing this, by the way. This is awesome.
I mean, she's been in the business so long that she's trusted. People know who she is, and she actually, because she also had that time as an agent, casting directors take her submissions like it was from an agency.
Sure.
Because I believe there are some rules in place, more strict in California, where you have to actually be a bonded agent, like a unionized, franchised agent, in order to submit people.
Right. Here in New York, it's a little more lax.
But I've only ever known on the theatrical side Sid, and for me it's hard to draw that distinction because I've worked with her as an agent and a manager, and there has been no change in the way that she's treated me or handled me the whole time.
So you do have a very unique perspective on it. So Law and Order happened, and for you, what did it do for you in terms of career and just your own confidence and stuff like that?
I mean, it's definitely reassuring or reaffirming. When you get an opportunity like that, you're like, okay, maybe I'm making the right choice going into this. Maybe I'm not
wasted my whole life. Yeah,
exactly. It was awesome. I mean, I don't know why I'm getting stumped by your really easy question.
Well, maybe it's not as easy as I'm thinking, but I was like, because thinking back to the times I booked something, you can book commercials and you can book films and you can you can book TV, and with each one, it feels like a new ground is being broken. So for you, I mean, what were some of the things that, for you, what was it like saying or hearing for the first time, hey, yeah, you booked TV?
It was awesome. It also was within 2 years of working with Sid. So it, made me confident in that relationship and that was moving in the right direction. It came after a period of 2 years of not being able to book anything, including student films, non-paying, I just could not. When I first moved to the city, I did Prom and I did a McDonald's web series, and then I went dry for a couple of years. And I was doing Friends projects here and there. And so it came at a time when I really needed it. I needed that boost, and it gave it to me. And then from there, I mean, it hasn't been all roses, but I've seen a clear progression from there.
Which is the idea, yeah.
It's never felt like I've moved back since then. So I think that gave me the boost needed to
Yeah, sometimes you need them in your career where it's just like you need to be able to just kind of like stick a stake in the ground and say, okay, I'm not going back past this point anymore.
Yeah.
This is where I've gotten to, and no matter how far I might fall, this is where I stop.
Right.
And it's like you can use that to just keep moving forward, because without those, I mean, we work in a very tenuous career where you're only really as confident as your last job. But if you can at least mentally set up those sort of like safeguards, like, okay, I have the safety net of knowing, okay, no matter what happens, I still book that. And no matter what happens, I still book that. So you have those things that do keep you going. And you have kept going. First, I wanted to talk to you about Spider-Man, since you posted about it last night and it just happened to be on. Yeah. So tell us about your experience on the first new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield one.
Yeah, directed by Mark Webb.
Who is the most appropriately named director ever.
And one of the nicest guys ever, too. Yeah, he was awesome to work with.
What made him a nice director for you?
The confidence and trust that he cast the right person, even on my level, somebody who, nobody on that set knew other than him and the producers from my audition tape. They still gave me the freedom to improv and he came up and, a couple takes in, he said, okay, we got that now. Let's have some fun. Let's just throw that script away and just be an asshole.
That's awesome. To have that trust given to you is just such a cool thing.
Yeah.
I've had it a few times in my career, and I'm like, this is why we're doing it.
And he was totally into playing. I mean, we did one take that he told me, he was like, okay, during this next take, just poke Andrew in the shoulder.
Like physically,
just poke him, since you're needling him with your words anyway. Just get that physicality in there a little. But he didn't tell Andrew.
Nice.
So we got a nice reaction there, And, he just did little things like that. He knew he's one of those guys who on set he has an outward appearance of being just so relaxed and so in control, but that. Those together, like his feeling relaxed, you never feel like he's not in control, that he's not the captain of that ship. That's
awesome.
It was great. Yeah.
How was Andrew Garfield then to play off of?
Super, super nice as a person. Like, I was standing off in the aisle, like not knowing what to do with myself on this first day on a, multi-million-dollar movie.
Yeah.
And he was like, can someone get this guy a chair? And he had props bring a chair, put it right next to him, and we chatted for a while.
That's awesome.
He was super nice. And I mean, you've seen his work on camera. He's a great actor.
Sure.
He's
Very versatile guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And very present, very in the moment. Those things that, Mark was throwing at us either way, he
was just there. He was right there with you. That's great. I mean, because sometimes you hear people who are reaching levels of success and you're like, but why?
Yeah.
It's so somebody who's actually good at their craft is like, okay, I can feel good about that.
Yeah.
Good for him. And I know you were able to, you did go to the premiere, right?
I did, yeah.
Tell me about that.
I got to walk the red carpet.
That's pretty sweet.
All that whatnot. It was awesome, yeah.
Where was that?
It was in LA. I am blanking at the actual theater. It was two theaters that are right across the street from each other. I don't remember.
That's all right.
The red carpet was set up on the street in between, and then the premiere played at both theaters. And then there was a big after party where they just took the red carpet and extended it for like 2 city blocks and put up like 10-foot walls and studio lighting around it and just had bars and tables of food. And one end was like for the kids with like a climbing walls.
Oh my gosh.
The food trucks from LA and stuff.
It's a step above the vampire movie you did back in the beginning of your career, right?
A little.
There was no big bash that closed down 2 city blocks.
Not 2 city blocks. a backyard for sure. We for sure raged at the end of that one.
Might have had Lego, but maybe not 2 city blocks.
Yeah, and we were buying our own alcohol.
Yeah, right.
Too.
And so I mean, this was that must have been quite an experience. And you said you've in some fashion kept in touch with the director.
A little bit. I mean, we correspond via email, and when he was working on this second one in New York. I had a friend on locations, and I got in touch with his assistant, Bea, who was a producer on the second one. And I stopped by set a couple times just to say hi, and I went to the wrap party and the cast and crew screening of the new one, even though I'm neither cast nor crew.
But that's pretty cool. I mean, sometimes you think like when you do something that the people move on from you, and it's like, well, I cease to exist in their world.
Yeah,
but it's cool to be thought of as somebody who is still part of the family, right?
Oh, I'm hoping that T-Bone, which was my character name until it got changed to store clerk.
For anybody else, for everybody's purposes, you were and will forever be T-Bone.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about what IMDb says. It's T-Bone, all right?
You could see it on my name tag
there
still
you go,
when
T-Bone.
you watch it. I'm, because Uncle Ben's killer is still on the loose.
That's true.
In the universe. And I had a big part of that, of letting him get away. I was a big part of that. If I wasn't a jerk to Spider-Man,
you might have.
He would have caught him.
That's right.
Uncle Ben would be alive.
There may be some due revenge here.
I'm hoping, yeah.
Let's see if T-Bone gets what's coming to him.
I have no reason to think that's in the pipeline anywhere. That's just a very big, hope of mine. Wishful thinking.
That's
Put
what
it out there.
this podcast is all about. The hope of tomorrow. That's what I'd like to think. Now, I remember that you posted on Facebook that somebody took that scene and made a 16-bit version of it.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me about that.
Yeah, it's just, they did like an old school style animation, 6-bit or 8-bit.
8-bit, sorry.
Like the old Street Fighter cartoon where it's wide shots of like really blocky figures and then it'll cut to like a close up with like just two talking heads in the voice bubbles.
Yeah. And
they animated it in it's a 5-minute version of the whole movie.
Right.
And my scene made the cut.
Which is pretty cool.
And yeah, I think the lines that are in the bubbles are just, you don't have enough money. And he says, help me out, I think. And I say, no.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who did that?
I don't know.
Just guys who were thinking about doing it and did it.
The last time it was playing on FX, like a couple weeks ago, I posted about it, and a friend of mine was like, "Have you seen this?"
That's pretty cool,
I
man.
had not. Yeah,
that puts you firmly in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, there's another. My scene is actually out there. Like somebody just did a recreation of it. Like there's these two. I'm not sure where they're from. They're not.
They're not from the U.S., perhaps?
No, I don't think so. And they just did a full version, word for word.
Just a recreation of it.
And just our scene. Like
How mind-blowing is that for you?
Yeah. And the dude who played me was big with long hair. And it was just like, this is weird.
Amazing. Have you gotten recognized for it?
For that, a handful of times. More so for Law and Order.
Yeah.
For the last SVU episode I did, I guest starred on. I was a prime suspect. So,
and people recognize you from that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I get that.
Given how many, because there's so many Law and Orders, and there were so many episodes of all the Law and Orders.
Yeah.
For somebody to remember you from one of the episodes is a pretty good deal.
Yeah. It always feels very, very good.
Who recognized you from that?
This one was funny to me because I was sitting on the subway and this guy came up and it was about 3 a.m. I was coming home from the bar and he was like, "Look at you all acting like a regular person."
Where do you go with that?
I honestly did not know what he meant. It was 3 a.m. I had a couple drinks. So I just said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "Oh, I seen you." And then he proceeded to explain that he had just watched the first Amazing Spider-Man before going to see the second one in the theaters.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Those first two lines were just like, this is awesome.
You can't write that. You can't write that. Yeah. That's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
So your more recent work has been film projects.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the most recent movie that I worked on, I unfortunately got left on the old cutting room floor.
Which has happened to all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I found out the best way possible. It was This Is Where I Leave You, directed by Sean Levy, the Tina Fey, Jason Bateman movie that'll make you cry and laugh.
It's I'm already getting emotional, but go on.
But the movie opens with Dax Shepard playing a very Howard Stern type role, shock jock. Mm-hmm. And I filmed a scene with him where I play his sidekick, basically his Artie Lang.
Okay, yeah.
So it was me and Dax just riffing about manly things. The show was called Man Up. Mm-hmm. And just, he was awesome to work with because he was so giving. So when I auditioned, I had 4 lines.
Yeah.
When I showed up, I had one word line. And then when we shot it, Sean gave me my mark and he was like, okay, your line, but Dax likes to play. So just, keep up.
Yeah.
And, I feel like I did. And it was a lot of fun. Dax was monologuing. He had these pages written. And instead of just going straight through them, he would just break and he'd be like, so manscaping, what do you think about that, Ollie? And just
give me an opportunity. Yeah. Which is, I mean, you cannot overstate how giving it is to do that for another actor who is not on your level.
Yeah. And we're in a business, a career that is inherently look at me,
Yeah.
And he said to me, he was like, you're my sidekick.
Right.
He was like, you would talk more during the show than just this one word.
Especially in the medium of radio.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Before he was like, that's cool with you? And I was like, of course.
Yeah.
And then we just played,
Good for him, man. And I think he's very underrated.
He's awesome. He was a super nice guy to spend the day with. We were locked in a soundproof booth together for a couple hours.
Wow, yeah. You better like the guy you're in there with.
Yeah, he was so nice and just super talented. Again, like my experience with Andrew, he's just so present that you can really live those moments with him and just,
And acting is, I don't know about for you, but I've always felt that acting is easiest when it's you're just allowed to react to what's happening.
Yeah, acting you might have reacting.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just maybe your line is pre-written, but what you're doing is living in the moment of that happening, and the words come out because they belong there.
We had jokes that came out that about the manscaping thing. He was like, Ollie, have you ever manscaped? And I would, first thing that came to mind, I just went, bikini wax. And that was the only line there, we just played for a while. And
that's awesome. And you said you found out that you didn't get in the movie the best way possible.
Yeah, I actually got an email from Sean, from the director, and it gave me a line of dialogue that I like to keep in my head in case I'm ever feeling down, because it was a really nice email. He was just like, I don't normally email the people I cut from my movies, but I liked you. I loved your work. And the end of the email, the last line was, but seriously, dude, I think you're really good, and I genuinely look forward to hiring you again.
That's awesome.
I was like, okay. That makes up for any, the experience. I still worked with him. I still got to work with Dax, and I was, and just making that connection, the fact that he remembered me and cared enough to
track you down
out like that. Yeah.
I mean, it does say a lot about him as a director and as a person.
Yeah.
And for anybody who's, outside the business listening to this, I mean, that's not the norm.
No.
I mean, it wasn't his responsibility to do it. It wasn't necessarily obligated on him to do it.
Yeah.
But he just did it out of the kindness of his heart and probably as a tribute to the work you did and the kind of person you are. So I think it's like it says a lot about both of you that happened.
It was very nice. It's always hard to find out if you're, not making the final cut.
Sure.
That's a soft couldn't even really get upset. I didn't even have time to be upset about not making the movie because I was happy that I had made that connection, And I think the fact that you're willing to talk about it
for a movie that just came out, and you're still real, you feel real cool about it. I mean, that says it all right there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not ashamed of it because I know the reason that I didn't make the movie had no bearing on me. I went to see the movie with a really good friend of mine, Dan DiLorenzo, writer, director, producer. I feel like I'm plugging friends just for the hell of it. But
again, that's really all this show is for, is just getting some press for people I know and like, and then the guests who I have on can do the same.
Yeah. But I went to see the show with him, and he was like, I almost feel like, I guess there's a tiny spoiler alert if you're going to see This Is Where I Leave You and Have Not Yet. But
all right, so go hum and put your fingers in your ears for a second.
Yeah. Dax plays basically the villain. Okay. He has an affair with Bateman's wife.
Okay.
And I think that me being his sidekick and us laughing together and, almost set him up too likable.
I get that.
And I wonder if that had any bearing on it. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it has nothing to do with you as a performer or your performance or anything like that. Sometimes it's just within the context of a whole picture. Mm-hmm. It can't work because X, Y, or Z. That's a perfect example of why. And when you can rationalize that, like I did Louie. I did an episode of Louie.
Yeah.
And it was the episode where he gets a motorcycle and he crashes it. Yeah. And I'm one of several people who run over to him and talk to him while he's laying there on the ground, and he's telling jokes and he's saying all kinds of funny stuff. When it actually made air, we got cut out. So you see the motorcycle crash, go to commercial. And I watched it, and of course I was ticked off. I was not. Yeah. I mean, it was being on Louie is like one of the real like feathers in a cap you can have,
for sure.
And again, I booked it. I got to work on it. I got to watch his process. Like a lot of good came out of it, but I got cut out. So there was that initial sting of like, oh, that sucked. But then intellectually, I looked at it and I was like, I get it, because it was the wrong tone to set up what was happening next. So anytime you can kind of do that is a helpful thing, I think.
Yeah.
And I know that we sort of, besides that project, we wanted to make sure we got this in today because you're heading off to West Virginia.
Yeah.
So what's that project you're working on?
I'm working on a indie film out there called Arms. Well, right now called Arms and the Man.
Working title.
Yeah, because it is not an adaptation of the play. But it's about three criminals who try to take over a farm and secede from the United States. And we're shooting it on 35 millimeter black and white film.
Which is astounding in today's day and age.
An indie film, shooting on that.
Yeah.
The director, John Jaquish, is just committed to shooting on film. He loves old film. He loves the way it looks. He loves that aesthetic. And I'm really excited to see what because I haven't gotten to see Monitor or anything on a set like that.
It's such a different feel,
And the stills I've seen recently look stunning. So I can't wait to check it out. But I play one of the three criminals. I get to do some like badassery that I don't normally get to do, Isn't
that the beauty of what we do? You get to be a badass even though you're a smiling, happy guy.
I play like a drunk asshole that calls people rotten sons of bitches and spits on the floor.
That's awesome. It doesn't get better than that.
No, and we're shooting on this farm in West Virginia that's just picturesque and beautiful, and it's a small crew of all people who work really hard and are good at what they do. The lead actor's Harris Doran, awesome guy, really great actor.
And this is you're going back there for the second time.
Yeah, we shot for 4 weeks over this summer, and just took a little break to kind of regroup because of the limitations of shooting on film. They wanted to, we know we had almost all the movie. We know we didn't have the full movie. So they wanted to step back and really assess what was needed to complete this picture. And, because of lab processing and all that and the waiting period of getting your film back,
you can't do it with the speed that you would do it with digital for sure.
So we took took a little time off, heading back down now. It was spurred on a little bit because my attempt at losing some pounds now. I called him. I started losing a little, and I was like, hey, if we want to finish this movie and not have continuity be, horrible on my, not have my jowl continuity be off.
Right.
So
that's an interesting challenge,
Yeah.
I mean, good for you for doing that, and also having the wherewithal to say, this might be a problem for this film.
Well, I knew that was the only thing that I was in the middle of. Anything I start now or after,
they get what they get.
Is what it is.
It's on them.
Yeah. But
very, very cool. Well, I guess as we wrap up, how do people get in touch with you?
I'm on Twitter, Michael Barra. I have a website, michaelbarra.com. Facebook, Michael Barra actor.
Do you do a Instagram?
I do. I think I don't even. I like rarely post that. It might be M Barra or M_Barra. I don't really know that one.
I still can't wrap my head around Instagram, even though I know it's absolutely vital these days that you have to have all of them.
Right. It's become more. Instagram's blowing up, and I don't know. When I'm seeing something really cool, my first instinct's not to grab the camera. It's just to look at it with my eyes and enjoy it. Yeah. So
how dare you? How dare you be so selfish,
share that with the world.
Well, I don't know how I feel about this now.
Yeah.
No, anyway, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
All right, there he is, old T-Bone himself, Michael Barra. It was a fun conversation on a very hot October afternoon, and it was fun just to sit and chat with him for a little while at his apartment and learn a little bit more about a guy who I think is a lot of fun to hang around with, and I think he's got a bunch of talent, and it'll be fun to see where he goes from here. If you want to find out more about Michael yourself, you can go to his website at michaelbarra.com. That's MichaelBarra.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Michael Barra, and you can find him on Facebook. He's got a Facebook fan page. Just look for Michael Barra Actor. It'll take you right to it. I'm going to put up the video that I found of the 16-bit Amazing Spider-Man video that he's in. I think that's really cool that somebody did that, so I wanted to share that with you. So go to bringyourownlunch.com, and it'll be right there for you. Thanks, Michael. It was a great chat, and I look forward to finding out more as you move forward in this business. That about does it for another edition of Bring Your Own Lunch. Thanks for being here. Of course, we got to thank Banuba.net. Find out where the music from this show comes from and find out where they'll be live. Download some of their music. They are great. The New York Short Film Shootout, nysfso.com. Come check it out if you are listening to this before October 29th. But we're going to have more events in November and December. So even if you are listening to this post October 29th, you'll be fine. But go check out the website anyway and find out information about either the New York Short Film Shootout number 4 or number 5 or number 6. Any way you do it, it'll be fun if you can come join us for any of them. Also, don't forget about the Bad Theater Fest. Go to badtheaterfest.com. Saturday night, November 1st, 11 p.m. at Treehouse Theater. I will be hosting Let's Talk About Sex, the talk show where we don't talk about sex. And it should be a suitably awful time for all of us. In the best way possible, because that's what the Bad Theater Fest is all about. And we'll throw a plug to the Bad Theater Fest. We'll throw a plug to the Treehouse Theater, treehousetheaternyc.com. That's the venue for both the Short Film Shootout and the Bad Theater Fest. Of course, don't forget to go to our website, bringyourownlunch.com. You can follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. We do Thanks for Following Friday every Friday, so if you follow us, we will mention you on Friday on Twitter, and you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/bringyourownlunch, and of course we're on iTunes, and that's the best way you can help us. Go there, take 2 seconds, rate and review the show, subscribe so you get every episode as it comes out, and also share it with a friend, because right now this is the best way for me to help this thing grow, and for you to help me help this thing grow, and for more people to get involved in this show, because so far it's been a lot of fun, and I want to see more people get involved. Stay tuned for the Jimmy Jack Cow Punch Hour, followed by Mansoor and the Fish, and until next week when I'll have another great guest, this is Dave. I'll see you next Tuesday.